Welcome to another GCBASIC Insight video. This is a new feature, colors. We've introduced colors to the IDE to improve usability and cognitive impact. So GCBASIC is an open source compiler for the microchips, PIC and AVRs and LGT microcontrollers. Said before, we support 1400 microcontrollers on a cross-platform with common code translation. So what is this change all about? At change 1541, you can now get color coding in the terminal output. This color coding is applied to the console or the terminal output in GC code, the IDE. It changes the behaviors of errors, warnings, and debugs because they now appear in different colors. It improves clarity during the compilation and debugging, especially when you're using bigger projects. But it's pretty cool. It really helps you understand the visual differences between messages. And when you're scanning, it really does help you understand. So it reduces the cognitive overload when you've just got all grey. And it makes it more friendly. And in a terminal environment, you get better support generally. So why don't we have a look? So I'm just going to connect into a remote machine. This is the IDE. I'm looking at a folder with that particular change in it just to demonstrate. And here, I'm just going to open up that file. I will zoom in, control plus just to zoom in for you. There you go. And essentially, all I've got is a really simple program. Doesn't matter what the chip is, not important. I've defined, and to show you the errors and show you the changes, I've just defined some serial, and I'm going to use the serial to generate some errors because that will show us the color coding. So if I shut the Explorer window, Control B, just gets it out of the way, and I press Function key F6, it will compile the code. First of all, notice that the compiler is now in blue. That line is blue, it's green, compile successfully, and the compile time is information. So you've got your general chatter, but really you've got the key messages in blue, green, which is the key message that says that compiled successfully. So all we're doing in here is compiling up. I ought to send some data, I guess. H serial send. I'm not going to show you any data here, okay? The letter A, function key FA, and this will just make sure we're compiling up the full library. Green and blues are shown. But if we come into my program, I've got some constants that I'm going to use to show you different conditions. So if I just uncomment that, this constant is a constant that checks the bound rate. It does some mathematics inside of the library to make sure your library is set up correctly. It's documented, but this is only showing you the color. So it says there, check the bound rate. Now there's no more information on there, so I haven't got a problem. If I uncheck this one, it says issue check bound rate warning. So function key F6, all looks good, great. That's because it's all within the constraints. But now I've got a warning, and that warning is in yellow, not an error. It's just a warning, and it's in yellow. It says the baud rate calculated at this specific frequency is 9,603. Hey, why don't we just see what happens when we play with it then? Let's put it up to 1,500. I'm only doing this to demonstrate the color coding, not the actual issues here. Let me just have a quick cough. So if I recompile, function key F6, it says blue for the compiler. It says it is successful, but there's a warning that says the actual baud rate is actually a little bit less than you expected, which is 115,942. Yellow warnings. Let me just make this issue an error. So now I've changed the frequency. Press function key F6 just to compile. We'll see what. Look at this. I get errors. An error has been found. It says here the error. A big error rate in the baud rate. Percentage error rate is 8%. That's 8%. So the actual baud rate here is 124,416. You can go check that in the data sheet. Okay, that's how it all works. But it's showing you here that you've got an error, and it's in red. Now you wouldn't have seen that unless you actually revealed those constants. So why don't we just throw an error into this program here to see what happens then? I'll just take out those constants and that code, and I'll just put a exclamation mark in there because that won't compile. Function key F6. It's a typo. An error, syntax error. I can click on it. It will take me to the error condition. If I look at the terminal, it says an error has been found in red. No green because we didn't get a successful compilation. Remember before we got a successful compilation with the warnings, but they were not treated as fatal. So therefore it continued through, just gave you the information. When the baud rate check was in there, it exceeded 8%. You might have a bit of problem with your terminal. It issues an error. So what we've got is a better user experience. We've got blue for standard informational, green for success, yellow for warnings, and red for errors. With that, new feature, colors. Enjoy.